Hey, I'm back. Rick needed the Rick needed the passcode. He didn't have it. Dude, this thing started 7:30 or 7:45.
Yeah, I thought it was 7:30.
Okay, I'll just sit here and wait. Okay.
All right, folks, let's call this hearing to order. First portion of this meeting is the hearing for the CDBG funds. We'll start with roll call, please. Martin?
Here.
Moss?
Here.
Evans?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Nelson?
He's
Rick
dialing
Nelson?
in now.
Does anybody know if Rick's on?
He's dialing in now.
All right. Hunt?
I'm here.
Ratliff? Councilwoman Ratliff? And Councilwoman Campbell?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. So we have allocated to us this year $66,000 in community development block grant funds. They're federal funds allocated and managed through the Department of Human Services. This money can be used for acquisition, construction, reconstruction of public facilities, clearance, demolition, removal of buildings. It can also be used for private residence improvements where they apply. The residents may apply for these funds, and then we determine, the council would determine how those are allocated. I will say that part of the job of the council is to make recommendations for this money prior to hearing from the public. What I'd like to see done with this, we've got 3 vacant buildings, one on Holborn, which was burnt out, one on Brand, which was burnt out. We're coming up on 1 year. These have been boarded up and they're extremely dangerous. They're ready to crumble. There's another building on Olean in Burdell Hills that the walls are actually bulging, and I'm afraid a snow load is going to bring that building down. This 66,000 would probably, well, I can almost assure you it would be enough to get these 3 buildings torn down. With that said, we're going to open up the meeting to the public. Please, if you have input on the use of these funds, come to the podium, state your name, your address, and anything you'd like to say. We're once again going to struggle with Zoom, so I'm just going to open this to the public. And if you would send in the chat to Michelle that you'd like to speak, but
Don't the council gets the right to speak?
well, this you will. We're going to let the public speak first on this issue, and then we'll have a conversation. And then during the course of the meeting, we can address it once more during the council meeting. But yeah, you'll have a chance to talk. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I hope the people on Zoom can hear you. What I can do, I'm going to turn this around again. And that way the council and the people on Zoom can hear you. Well, here, we'll just do it this because not everybody's going to be on Zoom. Is Terry visible, anyone?
Yeah, I can hear and see her.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Oh, Terry Gannon, 7620 Augusta. Well, I totally agree that we need to tear down those burned out buildings. But I would also like to see if the city, if there's any money left over, if the city can look at dangerous tree removal only in the city easements, not on people's personal property, just on the city easements, because we've had too many of those trees. I mean, almost take out buildings, cars, things like that. So only the trees that the city's responsible for. And I think 24-1 had somebody who could come through the city, an arborist, and it wouldn't cost us anything to take a look and identify the trees that are the cities and are dangerous. So, I mean, if nothing else, look at the trees, identify the trees that are dangerous, and if there's any money left over, use it for that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, hello. May I make a comment?
State your name and your address, please.
Kimberly Moore, 7832 Skyview.
Go ahead, please.
Hello. First off, thank you to all the residents and all the council that showed up. And I just wanted to state that if we are able to still get the funds for this year, I know the ones for last year haven't been allocated or spent, but it would be really good if we could use those on those abandoned homes. Also, I spoke to someone over at the county in reference to these funds, and it seems like since 2011, the money that Normandy has received every year has gone towards concrete, and it seems like it's been primarily used in Ward 1. I know concrete is not cheap, it's expensive to get good quality work, but at this time, if any of the council has driven around the city, more than their neighborhood, the whole city, there are people that are in desperate need of help and their homes are becoming dilapidated because they can't get any assistance. So a suggestion the county made was that instead of the whole 66K for this year or next year going towards concrete, to maybe do what other subdivisions like Norwood Courts and others do, they take half of it and leave it up to the city to pick to do concrete or whatever, or to do tree removal, and then the other half goes towards residents. And when it goes towards residents, it's nothing that the council or that the city, we don't have to employ anyone. A resident would have to be income eligible. There would be a list of things that could be fixed, and that could really help some of the homeowners with gutters and just issues like that. And what in turn that does is they may get a small grant and they have to stay in their home for 5 years. And again, Normandy doesn't have to take care of the paperwork on that. But what that does is that makes the neighborhoods look nicer and it increases the value everywhere. I mean, this would only be available for those who are income eligible. But I think going forward, we should not, throw all the money towards concrete and actually use it for the residents. They also said that many Normandy residents have called to get assistance, and they're frustrated because they live right on the border of Norwood Court or Belle Reve, and they're putting their funds, a small amount, towards helping. And we haven't done anything since 2011. So I'm sure most don't know that, but that's very important.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Anyone else? If you're on Zoom, just speak up, please.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. My name's Darlene Foots, and I'm at 7505 Natural Bridge Road. Are any of those funds possibly able to be allocated for Natural Bridge? The medians, that they've gone crazy, and I mean, they've just gone totally in disarray. I mean, there was a portion in front of my house actually where they built those ramps, and there was some beautiful landscaping and mulching and shrubs that they planted there, but now they're just, weeds have overgrown all the landscaping that was done when they did that great, I think it was Great Streets Project or whatever that was called.
I can't get the sound to go down.
We'll address all the questions when the comments have been made.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Okay. Let me see, because I wanted to see, but I just didn't want to hear.
State your name and your address, please. I'm going to assume there's no one else on the Zoom call that wants to make a comment.
I don't see any more comments.
Anybody else from this crowd that wants to comment on these funds? Thank you. Okay, I'd like to address all three comments that were made and then let the council have an opportunity to opine on this. First of all, Terry Gannon, tree removal, we can't use the funds for that. It specifically prohibits tree removal. And I agree with you. I really would like to find some money and we need about 20,000 because we got some matching grants available to us for tree removal. And the grant that you mentioned through Beyond Housing, actually, it comes from the Missouri Department of Conservation, but that's $25,000. And all we have to do is apply for it. I'm in that process now. Ms. Moore commented on no more concrete and homeowner grants. Last year's money, the entire $66,000 was dedicated to concrete improvements and replacements. So I'm not anticipating that that's what's going to be done with any of this money. Homeowner grants is certainly a possibility. That has been brought up before. The issue with that is that out of 4,800 residents, 906 homes, there's so few dollars left that I'm not confident that it will have the impact of what a bigger grant might do. But I'm certainly receptive to that. And as far as using this money to improve Natural Bridge, these are restricted funds. So too are our economic improvement funds. And those economic improvement funds, the half-cent sales tax we passed, I think it's probably 14 years old now, but those funds can be used for great streets and they're a restricted fund. There's very few things we can do with that economic development money. So I'd like to use those dollars on great streets on the Natural Bridge corridor and leave the community development money for another use because we have another source to make those improvements. Does the council have any input on this?
Yeah, this is Councilmember Maurice Hunt. The addresses that was submitted to the council and the concrete company has already been set up to go out to bid. They're supposed to be going to the Post-Dispatch. We agreed that this will be one more year of concrete work in the previous years to get all the concrete and the sidewalks up to par, and so it could be safe for residents to walk up and down the street and in front of their homes. So we as a council, before you came, committed to this 3-year agreement, and the addresses has already been submitted. And the only thing that we've supposed to been doing is putting it out to bid in the Post-Dispatch to get bids on this concrete work. So are you saying that you're changing that?
Well, I'm saying I don't have any such agreement. I don't have any such contracts that I've ever seen or addresses that let me finish, please.
Mhm.
I don't have any addresses that I've seen or any agreement that we would commit 3 years of our CDBG money to concrete. I haven't seen that. And I will say that I appreciate that safety is an issue, but these 3 homes, I think far outweigh the safety considerations of cracked concrete. I'm telling you, these houses are coming down and we've got kids in these neighborhoods that may enter the buildings and fall through the floors. I encourage anybody to look at them. One, like I say, one's on Holborn, you can't miss it. One's on Brand, you can't miss it. And one's on Olean. And these buildings are coming down and the impact they're having on property values on those blocks is considerable also. I'd really like to see us get these buildings down, and I don't have another source of funds to do this. It's just not in the budget.
So I would like to ask you a question. These 3 properties,
Yes.
or these 3 properties, do the city of Normandy own those properties? And if they are they on the list that's already been submitted and we have buyers for some of these properties that they're going to take responsibility to tear down the houses themselves and redevelop it, because we do have a list of homes that we're waiting for titles on. Is some of these,
Well, yeah,
those
I
properties?
can answer that. I can tell you, I do know for a fact we own the one on Olean. That's Normandy owned property. The one on Brand, there may be insurance money to assist with that one. The one on Holborn, there's an ownership issue with that one. Contacting the owner, and that's a real issue with these homes. Sometimes the people just leave. They just leave because the cost to, they may not have a mortgage, maybe they inherited the house, and the cost to tear it down and do anything with it exceeds what value it's going to be when that process is done. So they walk away from it. Now, the two burnouts have been there since November. I do have them both finally real close to scheduled hearings. We've done the title work. We've done, and the title work wasn't for title. It was to search for any ownership interest. We've made the notices, and we should have that be able to schedule those hearings real soon. And following those hearings, which is required for us to tear these properties down, even if we don't own them, we can get following these hearings, we can get a court order to demolish these buildings. We're close on those two. And like I say, the one on Olean we own, so that won't be an issue. I mean,
Well,
if there's still the quiet title issue, that should be resolved soon.
Well, the city of Normandy in the past have tore down properties in the 4th Ward that didn't even belong to the city of Normandy. And we lost money turning down properties in the 4th Ward that we didn't even own. And we swore that we was never going to do that again, tear down property that benefits the person who has the mortgage or owns the property. So I'm not objecting to what you're proposing, but until you own the property or until you file a motion to obtain the property, I think we should just go ahead and try to obtain the loan and then have a hearing of what to do with the money at the later time.
Well, I appreciate that, Councilman Hunt. There was a really interesting seminar by Beyond Housing a couple of weeks ago about vacant properties, and you may never own it. It could sit there for 10 years, and the issue is immediate. The issue is safety, and the issue is the neighbors that live on each side of these buildings are sick of staring at them. Whether we own them or not, the issue is the same. And yes, we lose money. The money we spend to tear these buildings down is lost, but there is benefit both to the city of Normandy and to the residents on that block. I think they would be very much in favor of seeing these houses gone, and I think it would benefit the entire city.
Well, Rick Nelson's been here for some time. I just finally got in.
Thank you, Rick. I'll mark you as present.
Yeah, my computer was acting bad. Okay. Thanks for giving me that number, Maurice, too.
No problem.
Anybody else got input on this?
Yes, hey, Mark, this is Tony. Can you hear me?
Councilman Evans? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to speak on the resident on the Olean.
Yes.
Councilman Hunt, me and him had a walkthrough, and he determined also a year ago that the house needs to be tore down. The house even looks worse now. And here's a good thing. I've talked to two of the residents on each side of the home, and they agreed if the house is tore down, they will take care of the property. So that's one less thing that our public works would have to worry about, cutting the grass, because those two neighbors will take care of the property. And they've been violent for this for the last 3 years. Tear it down, and we will take care of the property. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm in agreement with Councilman Evans. I know I've heard people in those wards talk about the homes, and it seems like to me, not only would it be a benefit to the neighborhood, but also the community.
Thank you. I would like to, if there's agreement on this issue by the majority, have our attorney go ahead and put this in form of an ordinance or resolution, and then we can we have to determine what we want to do with this money for me to make the application. And I'm not
Can I
guaranteed-
speak? Can I have the
Oh,
floor?
yeah, go ahead.
This is Councilwoman LaWanda Smith. So I have two suggestions. The first one is that, yes, I believe that we should put money to the side to be able to help private residents with improvements to their homes, more so the seniors in our areas. Many of them are not capable or financially able to make the repairs needed to their properties. So if we're able to go to provide some type of financial assistance to them based on the need, I think that would be very good to our residents. And then two, regarding the vacant properties, I do agree as far as focusing too on tearing down the properties that are vacant. I mean, although we have many, but we do need to start putting those on the priority. Not only tearing them down, but if we do have investors that do want to come in to purchase the property so they can build them up, we don't want to turn that down either. However, I do believe that we do need to start focusing on a lot of these vacant properties and doing something with them.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question. What would you be receptive to this? I can anticipate a $20,000 bill on each house. We've got 3 of them. If we had a $6,000 grants and try that this year, because we've never administered that before. I'm being told that the county will manage all of that. Would that be agreeable to you to put a $6,000 grants out there and let's see how that program works so that we can evaluate it and take a look at this again next year when we have additional funds to work with?
Regarding which one, the houses or helping residents?
Well, I'm saying if we tear down these 3 houses, it's $60,000. That leaves 6,000 of the 66. On a trial basis, take 6 $1,000 grants to private residents and see how the program works. And
Yeah.
That way we'll be able to assess whether that's manageable for us.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
next year, that would be a reasonable compromise.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Hey,
Well, I have a
hey,
statement.
Mayor, I agree.
Go ahead. Who? I need a name.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I think
No,
Councilwoman Martin wants to
these
make a
houses
comment.
are in Ward 1. I am in agreement because I have been getting questions, but have gotten no information on what the status of the houses are until tonight. But I am in agreement as to tearing these houses down and making it safe. I would like, and I have been asking about help for people that are low income or seniors for home improvements for the past few years, but obviously nothing has been done. So yes, I do agree that some assistance does need to be given to people that need help. But yes, those houses need to go. I've been asked questions, but I have no answers until tonight since no one has given me any information. So yes, I am in agreement since they are
Thank
in
you.
Ward 1. Thank you.
There was another comment waiting. Who is it?
Mayor, can you, do you know the numbers for Blandford and?
It's on, not Blandford, it's on Brand. And I
Brand.
don't know the number off the top of my head, but you will not miss it. It's gutted. It's burnt out and boarded up and you will not miss it. And there's two shells of a car on Brand. There's a shell of a
Olean.
Olean. That one is about 3 houses, maybe 5 houses off the intersection of Olean and Blandford.
Stanwood.
Stanwood. Stanwood. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Stanwood.
And again,
And,
it's going to be
and
easy to see. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Councilman.
Councilwoman, you can't miss it. If you go down Olean, the worst house on the street that's falling down, you can't miss it.
No, I'm just asking because I'm looking at the list of the quiet titles.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I don't.
can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, if I could, on Olean, Tony, do you happen to know the address on that property?
No, I don't know the address.
Yeah, I can get those. I can get the one on Brand. I have the address in my office, and the one on Holborn. It starts with 55. I don't recall the last two numbers on it. 55 something Holborn. And like I say, there may be insurance money on one of those two. And if so, we'll move it to the fourth house on the priority list. I'll tell you what, folks,
Someone
without
asked
objection,
in the chat if you could spell the name of the streets.
HOLBORN.
What are the other two? I think they want the spelling.
One on Brand, BRAND, and there's one on Olean, OLENE.
So Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Moss, go ahead.
we don't know if any of these houses are on that quiet title list at this point.
You know, I really don't. Olean may be on the quiet title list.
I'm
If-
gonna tell you,
if-
I'm looking at the list, and 7733 Brand Avenue is on the list.
Yes,
Um, and 5320 Olean Drive is on the list.
it's not 5320. It's
And then
55.
53 And then 5313 Olean Drive is on the list.
Yeah, neither one of those are the burnout that I'm describing. Now, if it turns out that quiet title turns into a big nightmare, we can use the same process. Do a title search, try to notify owners, make every reasonable effort to. And at that point, you have a hearing. Nobody shows up because if they cared about the house, they would have already tried to do something about it. But you have to have the hearing. And following that, you can get a court order to tear the building down because they're dangerous. And I mean, anybody looks at them, it's pretty obvious they have to come down. So, like I say, without objection, I'll get either a resolution or ordinance prepared. We'll have the first reading at our budget meeting, and then the second reading at our November meeting, and try to get this passed. But with this hearing behind us, and with the decision made and the first reading behind us, I can submit to this application to the county. I did not get the extension, but I think if we show the goodwill that we're going through the work to do this, I can't imagine they won't reconsider allowing an extension on these funds. It's probably less work to give it to us than to deny it. So that's what I will attempt to do. Do I have a motion to adjourn this hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Moss. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by your name, please.
Councilwoman Smith.
Councilwoman Smith is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Aye.
All right, now we'll open, I will call to order our Normandy City Council meeting, and again, take a roll call. Martin,
Here.
Moss,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Nelson,
Present.
Hunt,
Here.
Ratliff,
Here.
and Campbell.
Here.
Thank you. All righty, let's see what the first item on the agenda is. Well, let's start with our pledge of allegiance, and then we'll look for approval for the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What are you doing?
Folks, before we move on to approval of the agenda, I am one meeting away from being caught up on all these minutes. And I realize you don't have them. I didn't have time to get it to you in time. So I will obviously entertain a motion to remove item 5, consent of the approval of the consent agenda. So if we're going to do that, I need a motion to amend the agenda if someone is interested in doing that.
I would like not to amend the agenda because on the October 5th, we had a legal vote to use cell site funds to pay on some of
Okay,
our
I
debts.
can't have a motion to not approve the agenda. I'm asking, we'll look for a motion, we'll look for a second, and it will either pass or it won't. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
A motion to amend by Campbell. Is there a second? Hearing no second.
I'll second.
Second by Evans. All in favor of amending the October 5 agenda, say aye.
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 Can you repeat what you're trying to do before I vote on it? You want
Sure,
to?
I'm trying to remove,
Misunderstood.
I'm taking a vote to amend the agenda so that we can remove item 5 because you don't have I'm asking you to approve minutes that you've not seen, and I know you're not going to be willing to do that.
Right.
Right.
So before we remove item 5, I need a motion, I need approval to amend the agenda. Following amending the agenda, we can make the recommendation to remove item 5, and I think Councilman Hunt had, I know I have one issue I wanted to add, and then Councilman Hunt had an issue he wanted to add. So before we can do that, we need a motion to amend, a second, and we have to pass that motion, or we have to follow the agenda.
Yes,
have a
yeah.
motion.
I agree. To
Okay.
amend.
Yeah,
So-
I
so we
agree.
have a
I don't want to
motion by
approve something
Campbell,
that I haven't
And we
seen.
have a second by Evans to amend. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. So there's the recommendation by myself to remove item 5. And also what I am indifferent to, but there was a request by the owner of let me get my notes out here. The bar and grill at the Wedge to renew the liquor license. And to put that on the agenda, we'd have to have a motion to put that item on the agenda or not. But for me to put it on the agenda, I need a motion and a second, and that would have to be approved. And she would also like to address this council tonight. And somebody help me, the name of the bar is escaping me. Courtyard, thank you, Courtyard.
The issue of the license, since the chief isn't here, that's my understanding,
Well,
right?
I'll tell you what, we're a little ahead of the game, but I will let Lieutenant George explain to us what's going on with that license.
But just,
Go ahead, sir.
For what I was told by,
Can everybody hear?
yeah,
No.
Chief Hall, when I was told by Chief Hall that the business license was for the liquor license. was
Liquor
expired.
license. It's the liquor license expired. Yeah.
Expired, yeah. The business has been shut down since last Thursday, reopened yet. That's what I have at the moment. That's what he's passed on to me, passed on everyone else. As far as I know, that it's been shut down all weekends, no issue. I mean, we're not operating at this point. So, I mean, I know that it's expired. Yeah, that was going to be here tonight in reference to this.
Yeah, because I was in the state decision that I didn't come to Normandy to do that, and when I came, it was too late. They didn't let me-
Okay, well, yeah, let's not go into it now, but that is the status. The
I
liquor
would
license
prefer,
expired.
yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
If because the residents haven't had notice on this, that I would prefer that the residents had an opportunity to know that the owner was going to be present. So some of the issues that the residents have could be addressed. And also the chief is not present, who has been instrumental in a lot of the happenings there, I think that would be better.
Anybody
I
else
would vote to not have that issue talked about tonight.
not address the issue at all tonight?
Yes.
Anybody else have an opinion on that?
I want to hear what she has to say.
Okay. I'll tell you what. We've got removal of item 5. A statement by the owner of Courtyard Bar and Grill. And is there anything else that needs to be added to this agenda?
There was a vote on October 5th that was a legal vote, and it needs to be removed from the.
Oh, that's on the agenda, Councilman. That's 7A. That's on the agenda already. We don't need to amend the agenda for that issue.
Okay, so we'll be re-voting or talking about that?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
There's been a recommendation to remove item 5 and to allow the owner of the Courtyard Bar and Grill address the council.
Would this addressing include a vote, or would it just?
There's no vote. There's no vote. We could.
License or?
No one's recommended that we vote on the.
Oh, okay.
Unless I hear a recommendation that we put this application for a renewed liquor license on the agenda, I can't put it on the agenda. So
Okay.
lacking that recommendation, that motion, that vote, I can't take a vote on that tonight. But it would be good to hear from her, I think. So remove item 5 and allow the owner of the Courtyard Bar and Grill to address the council. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended
I'll make a motion.
by Councilwoman Campbell? Is there a second?
I second the motion, Councilwoman Smith.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Ma'am, I'm going to let you use my iPad. It's just that way everybody's here on Zoom, so I'm just going to walk out and hand it to you. Or if you'd like, you can sit right here and address the council and everybody else at the same time.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Everybody. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible because I know everybody's on a time limit. But I also wanted to come and talk to everybody and introduce myself. My name is Tamika Renfro. I was born and raised in Normandy. I lived on St. Andrews my whole life. I was born at Normandy Hospital. So having the Courtyard was basically a dream for me. I was a bartender, but I wasn't a bar owner. So a lot of things that I've had going on was things that that were unexpected. I've had some things happen in a small amount of time with little help. I reached out to certain people for help. I got some help. A lot of it wasn't consistent. I've tried a lot of different measures that worked and didn't work. So I was coming up on a year recently, and before I went and did all my liquor license, it kind of slipped my mind because I'm all new to this I had to renew the Normandy when I thought once I came and went through the process, it didn't cross my mind. I had to come revamp it once I went and did city, and I did the state and the city because everything is up to date except even my Normandy business license up to date. It's just my liquor license that expired. Recently I went around to other senior bars and I came up with the Courtyard revamp. The Courtyard revamp, it consists of all different changes that I did. Soul Food Sunday, I fed the police department who was on staff. I was working back and forth with Officer Scott or Sergeant Scott, I don't mean whichever one it is. But a whole different crew came in on me. Me and him had kind of a thing working out. This is what time you do the last call, and it was kind of working for us and I wasn't seeing him anymore. So I was trying to work out something with the new staff. And by you guys being on the outside looking in, you just kind of see the problems, but you really don't see how hard I'm working on the inside being a new person. And every time something's happened, I'm trying something new. Everybody else just sees the things that's going on that I can't control. So I can say every time I ask advice, I've talked to the police officer. Like I said, I fed them on a Soul Food Sunday. I talked to the people across the street at the real estate. I talked to the people at the church. We do donations, all kind of people to get all their input on what's going on so that I can see how I can fix it and make the Corridor a community bar. I don't want it to be where I'm reading the text message and you guys look at it as like we're against each other. I want it to be a community bar where you guys are comfortable with coming in, getting something to eat, playing pool or whatever it is. I don't want it to be a diversion. I was born and raised in this area, so I don't want you guys to feel like I'm an outsider or I'm coming to bring trouble, because that's not why I'm here. I'm just a 39-year-old woman that was a school teacher, and I was a bartender on the side to have activities for my students, and my dream was to own a bar. So for me to get a bar where I was born and raised, it was just mind-boggling. But it's hurtful to me that I'm going through the things and you guys can only see what I'm going through and not see all the measures that I'm taking to try to change it. So what I did was I took a step back. I left my job of 15 years to focus 100% on my bar. So I did something called a Corridor revamp. And what I did is I went in, I talked to all different bar owners and I revamped my whole bar. I changed the bartenders because all I knew was have bartenders come in and they just want eye candy. I didn't think as far as, hey, well, when the bartenders that you hire, that's the crowd that they bring. So I had bartenders that were 25 and 26, so they were bringing that crowd. I thought I was just getting that crowd out of nowhere. So I'm trying to revamp the crowd. I'm steady taking the age up, but I'm not getting rid of the bartenders. So once I figured that out, it's like every day I'm figuring out something new on how to fix this problem, because I don't want to put a bad taste in anybody's mouth. And I want this bar to be successful in this area. I didn't want to go to the city and be a city girl. I wanted to be here. So I want to be here, but I want you guys to want me here. I want, when you have Christmas parties, you're able to come to the Corridor and have Christmas parties. I bet with the ladies at St. Vincent, they want to have parties over there. I just want you guys to be able to use that as a space to where this is your community space also. I don't want you guys to look at me as if I'm bringing trouble, because I'm not. I'm not a troublemaker and I'm not here to bring trouble. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I own the building across the street.
Terry,
from you.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, it's out of order at this time.
It's
Let's
out
let her
of
make
order.
her statement.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
So let me hurry up and get to the Corridor revamp. So what I did is made a Corridor revamp. I can leave this here so everybody can see it, because what I planned on doing is showing you guys this Corridor revamp and asking you to vote, to vote in my favor and give me a chance to make this right. So what I was saying is I did a Corridor revamp. What I did is I revamped the bartenders. I revamped the security guards. I revamped the staff. So I have older bartenders, so that's gonna bring an older crowd. I have security guards. Like when I talked to Officer Scott, I had put a light and a camera on the parking lot, but recently we had that storm, it tore our roof halfway off and my camera and my light was destroyed. So I'm just, once they get, I know you guys seen all them on the roof. They're almost finished with the roof. I'm gonna put the camera and the motion light back out there. And I'm gonna get an armed guard to be a police officer. I'm working with Officer Robert Howard from Northwoods. I'm trying to get him to come at least on the weekends, because I asked Normandy and they said they can't take outside jobs in the jurisdiction or something to that effect. Because I asked them if they can do it for me, the officers are not at work, if I can hire them when they're not working to work my lot. Because I feel like a guard outside is protected, but it hasn't been beneficial. So if I hire an officer to sit out there, it would be better. So that was with the parking lot. And also, I don't smoke, so I just know you can't smoke in the building. But I've been told people smoking everywhere. So what I did is if I put a guard outside, that would stop the crowd from being outside and that would stop the smoking. I don't know where they're gonna smoke it, but you can't litter out here. I went and purchased some signs, no littering on the lot and no trespassing. I'm gonna put all those signs up to make sure they know you can't litter here, you can't trespass here. If I have an armed guard, that should stop all the outside activity altogether.
Tamika, can you spell your last name for me?
RENFROE.
Thank you.
I also did revamping of the days. So like Monday, I said instead of 7 days a week, I'll be closed on Mondays, to just give everybody a break. On Sundays, we have Soul Food Sundays. On Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Wednesday, we will have game night, so you all will be welcome to come. We have checkers, any kind of game, all kind of games to play, and drink special. Thursday is ladies' night, and Friday and Saturday will be the only hip hop night. So that'd be every day of the week. It's consistently something going on day by day where you would know what's going on. Like, hey, Wednesday is game night. So you guys want to go play some games, cool, whatever, you can come. I revamped it all the way out and changed out everything to where this should eliminate the problems. I took the age limit up. I went from 21 to 25 to 30, because it's like every time I see a problem, like, okay, well, this can't work, this can't work. I'm basically trying and I'm reaching out for help. Anything that I see, I'm trying my best to revamp it. But like I say, I'm new, I'm reaching out for help, and I'm just trying to get it right. And I just don't want you guys to look at the struggle that I've been having trying to get it right and just shut me and my dream down. Because it's like, I'm not,
I appreciate it. There's a limited amount of time.
oh, I'm sorry, so.
But I will address everything you had to say,
Mhm.
and we're gonna want everything you got as far as your plan in writing.
Yeah, I have,
And then I want to talk to the council and maybe get you and them together at a workshop.
that'll work.
Because this could be an hours long issue. for
Okay.
us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to tell you, before you walk off, and I'm sure you've heard the complaints. The status quo is not going to work. There are people that live behind you that are talking about moving if there's not a change, and you certainly don't want to see that happen. So we've got a serious problem, which means you've got a serious problem. Please submit to me everything you've got as far as your plan. I'll scan it to the council, and if it's the council's pleasure, we can have, with our next week's budget workshop, we can ask Ms. Renfro to attend and ask all the questions of her we want to ask after we see her plan and determine which direction we want to go. I will tell you, there's not going to be any action taken on this tonight. That you're going to have to put up with this week without opening those doors, because the council, I know, is not willing to do anything tonight to address this.
Mayor Beckley,
So-
can I speak?
Sure,
Yeah.
Councilman Nelson, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it's a good idea what you're saying, and everybody needs a second chance, and working with the community, because it is a business, and we do want businesses in our city. So if she can revamp and do things to and like Yolanda was saying, having some of the residents maybe take a part in the conversation, I think it'll be a good idea to.
And that will be fine. What I'm saying is that I think it's going to be a long-winded conversation. I don't think it's one we're going to get to tonight.
Right,
So if it's the
exactly.
council's pleasure, I'll put it on the agenda with our budget meeting, and we'll address it at that time.
Yeah,
Mayor,
sounds good.
Can we move forward, Mayor, to the next agenda, please?
All right, next item. Report of officers.
Wait, are we on citizen comments or?
That's at the end of the meeting.
Wait, it's at 6. Are we?
Say again.
It'll be, it's already, almost-
It's item
8:30.
9 at the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay. I must have got the other one.
Yeah.
Is this-
So we're going to do officers' reports at this time. Couple of things going on. The ARPA application, American Relief Plan Act, that application is complete. It's in. I expect the funds to be delivered to our city in the next 30 days. It's $935,000, half of which we will get this year, half of which will be dispersed 1 year following the first disbursement. The municipal league's putting on a seminar on October 15th. I'll
Yeah,
be attending. I encourage the entire council to attend that seminar on the guidelines of these ARPA funds, what we can do, what we can't do. They're going to be restricted funds. We can't make mistakes with it. So anybody that wants to attend that meeting, they'll let you in if you're a council person or an employee of the city. Secondly, I got a visit from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources over an anonymous complaint about illegal dumping in our Public Works Department. It's something I addressed months ago, and right now there's a 40-yard dumpster down there full. It's going to be emptied, and another 40-yard dumpster is getting dropped tomorrow morning. We're addressing it. They're going to work with us. They're not being hardcore about it, but I do have a 40-page complaint that needs to be addressed. I also got an anonymous complaint from the Department of Labor, an anonymous complaint initiated a complaint to the city about dangerous conditions at Public Works. I investigated their complaint. There was a gas leak which caused the gas to be turned off The roof is currently leaking and there's faulty wiring. All the complaints were legitimate. They were not anything I was ever made aware of. In addition to that, going down to Public Works and doing an inspection, I also found the floor drains don't drain down there. Only one of the 3 garage doors work. So we've got maintenance issues there. They're being addressed. I've got roofers going out there. The gas leak's been repaired. The gas is back on. The wiring's being addressed next Monday. I'm going to get a bid on any code violations, but the immediate concerns as far as safety are going to be addressed right there, then and there. We're not going to let immediate situations that could cause harm to exist. So that's going to be done Monday. The courtyard barn grill we address. Lastly, we were in a closed session meeting our last meeting was Thursday, I believe the 30th. We interviewed 2 really solid candidates for city administrator. I'm really excited. Following this meeting, the council is going to go in a closed session and discuss further how we move forward with those 2 candidates, but it looks very promising. That's all I've got. Does anybody on the council have anything to add? Anything going on in your ward we need to be aware of?
Yeah, I wanted to address the what do you call it? The storm pickup. I would like to have trick or treating, and I'm sure everyone would like to see the storm pickup done, but just a safe area for kids to walk around and trick or treat. And the park in front of my house has debris in it from the storm and also in other areas, and I'm sure it's all over Normandy. So I would like to, within the next couple of weeks, I've gotten a bid for a park cleanup in my area, but I would like to address it Normandy wide. The other thing is I did talk to the Conservation Department about the $75,000 grant that was mentioned at the last meeting. Unfortunately, the person that I talked to said that is not something that he thinks that Normandy should apply for. He instead directed me towards a $25,000 grant that would allow for us, when we get a city administrator or a public works director, to have basically sustainable trees and butterfly areas in our medians, and they would actually come and train public works on how to maintain that those areas. So I think that's something that we should definitely look at towards the future for beautification.
Yeah, and I will tell you that $25,000 grant's there for the taking. We have to apply for it, and it's just a matter of the hours to do it. It's just another duty that if somebody wants to volunteer to put that together, I'm all about it. I would like to take up that $1,000 bid you have for the park to have those limbs chipped at the budget meeting. The issue with the limb chipping, I'm really frustrated with that. And Walter can tell you, we used to have a good relationship with Gold Star. That was soured by some slow pay, no pay. And I've been promised they'll be out there for over 2 weeks now to make some repairs to our equipment. And they've been a no-show. And I don't know I don't know what that's about. It may be just a sour relationship. I've tried there's so few mechanics that are willing to come out on site and make repairs, but I'm addressing it. I've just been frustrated with it.
It's been there for at least 2 months. I'm getting a lot of calls from, it's in front of my house. I see it. I'm getting calls from people on other streets. We know it's there. It's causing, it's just rodents, and it's gonna, raccoons are in it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's a high priority. It's got to be taken care of.
I think the $1,000 bid is a place to start because of the amount and everything, but and the safety issue. But I would love to see it taken up.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, I do.
I think maybe
Councilman Moss.
I think maybe there has to be a personal appointment with Gold Star to talk to them, and not just over the phone. I think we have to go and have a sit down with them and maybe resolve the issue, because they are a great company. They do great work, and they show up wherever you broke down. I do know that for a fact. I use them for my diesel, and I've been using them for years, never had any problem out of them.
Well, I can't do it this week, but if you have, I understand you had a previous relationship with them and have one now. I'm happy to, for the two of us to meet in person, if you're interested in setting that up. Next week's wide open for me.
All right, well,
And I think that would be a good start.
yep, I do too.
Thank you. I think Councilwoman Smith had a comment.
It's me, Leila Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to address a couple of things. One, I wanted to bring to the attention of the high grass starting to grow on properties, even the properties that are occupied. We need to find out if there's something that's going on where they can't either afford to maintain their grass or if they need help, as well as some of the empty properties. Then also address derelict vehicles on the street. Vehicles with expired plates. We need to see if they need help or why the vehicles aren't registered or moving. And also, and another resident put in the comments, and I agree, what's the status of the trash services? What are we doing now? What's going forward? Can you please address that?
Yeah, I will. We passed the temporary contract for 6 weeks. On Monday morning, all the trash is picked up in the entire city, all the recycle in the entire city, and they will pick up yard waste as we ask them to do it. And I'm thinking this time of year, we're going to be asking them to do it every week. And I will ask the council for their input on that. We pay them by the hour, $160 an hour. I'm just thinking that if residents are used to weekly pickup, it's going to be hard to have sporadic pickup of yard waste. They've been disappointed so many times before. I would suggest just doing it all on Monday. I've got these companies that would like to bid this job. They're all making it very easy for me. They've all sent sample RFPs. I fill in the blanks. I just pick one and fill in the blanks. So I'm hoping to have that out by Monday. It's another thing that takes time. And we could ask for a 3-week turnaround on that, because they're just waiting for the RFP to go out to respond. It won't take that long to get these bids in.
Right. So what does that include? Just recycle and trash? What about yard waste, the limb chipping?
Right now,
Who's going to maintain all of that?
Yeah, bag yard waste is included. If you want yard waste other than that, it's got to be in 3-foot bundles, no bigger than 18 inches around. And any limbs can't be bigger than 6 inches because their chipper won't take it. And that's the parameters they set for yard waste. And we could put out another flyer. I will tell you, I want to thank both the ladies in the front office and our court staff. When that truck broke down, they were out there with flyers the following morning after I worked out this deal to get trash picked up. They all gathered at 7 o'clock. I didn't ask them to do it. They met with Public Works and passed out flyers to the entire city. So I want to thank them for doing that. Yeah, that's
what I would also like to know is about if it is decided that the city is going with an outside contractor, people are going to want to know what their bill increase is going to be as well, because I'm almost certain that when we do an outside contractor, the bills change.
It will change, and it looks in all likelihood that it's going to go down. That's everything I see suggests the cost per resident is going to go down.
For how long? Is that for the first year? Is that a permanent change going forward? Because
I don't know the answer to that, whether that bid is a 2-year bid. I have to look into these RFPs and see what the norm is. I don't know the answer to your question.
Okay, because we're going to have to prepare people for if it is decided that we're going to go with a different company or a company that, okay, the bill may go down the first year, maybe in the first 2 years, but as long as I've been in Normandy, the bill rarely moved up. It slowly creeped up, but it wasn't a significant hit. And I'm pretty sure that would shock a lot of people if we get a significant hit in about 3 years. Just curious.
And if that happens, we can put out the RFP again.
Is the bid, because we haven't talked about that. Is that something that we're going to talk about on the 13th? The 3?
Well, I need to get the RFP out. I don't have any
Oh,
bids
okay.
yet. Yeah, that I have to get out, and I hope to have that out by Monday.
This isn't something that I just want the public to know. This is something that we
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, in 3 weeks, I'm hoping to have the bids in, which means I got to get busy and get the request for proposals out. Someone just put in the chat, they missed the leaf pickup. I don't think we have anybody has any intention of not having our leaf pickup. We still got the leaf vac. We've still got the limb chipper if I can ever get anybody to repair it. So those services are not going to be lost, and they're not part of sanitation now. They are not in the sanitation budget. Our leaf pickup, our leaf vac, and our limb chipping, that's a public works service. So that there's no reason that will change.
Yeah, Mayor Beckman, Rick Nelson
Yes,
speaking.
go ahead, sir.
The right of ways that we have several, and I've got a lot of calls from residents that want to know about the right of ways that we have and own, that trees are leaning over on their fence, and
Yeah,
we
you
have
know
to,
what? We used to not take care of those because the property, typically the owner owns the property to the middle of the street and has always maintained those. And then we got in the habit of taking those trees down because we had the money to take them down. Now we don't have the money to take them down. We burnt through a lot of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars taking trees down. And eventually that piggy bank ran out. So yeah, we do have to address it, how to prioritize it, what grant money's available for it. Terry Gannon mentioned during the CDBG hearing, there's matching funds. And I'm going to be talking about that at the budget meeting too. I'd like to find about $20,000 in that budget if we can for matching funds, because it could be turned into 40 and we get a lot of tree work done with that.
right. Well, one other thing I'd like to ask you, the MoDOT,
Yes.
right off Bermuda Road, I guess south of MoDOT, there's a road that goes all the way back to Contour, the back of Contour. Familiar with it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had a lot of the residents call about this summer. There was no, MoDOT never did the lawn back there, anything. They didn't cut the weeds or anything. There were foxes and deer and everything back there. And I've been to MoDOT there on Bermuda Road several times, and I was kind of blown off. You know, they didn't have the help. They didn't have that. But I like to maybe address that with the, if you can address that with the, whoever is in charge of a MoDOT. I think the guys out of Chesterfield or something, but the guys over there, they never cut anything down over there. I think it's a couple of years now. So that problem occurs, and it's still there. So if any way you can make a note of that,
yep,
and let us know on that. The residents would like that to be taken care of, something.
All right. Thank
and
you.
I have one more question.
Sure.
There's a couple of questions in the chat about the shootings. Can we have who's there? Sorry, is it Lieutenant George? I apologize if I'm saying your title wrong. Yeah, can we give the residents some type of information on if they hear shootings, you know, numbers to call, what's the patrolling supposed to be, things like that?
Sure, his report's up next. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Councilmember Hunt. I noticed that you do not have Anthony Gray as the attorney of officers report. We always had
Hello?
a attorney.
Sure.
I'm sorry, my phone disconnected.
Yeah,
my phone disconnected. I apologize.
We always had a report of the attorney. Anthony Gray is not on here for his report of officers.
Yeah. I have no objection to him giving a report if he has some information for the city. Thank you.
Can I go back? My phone disconnected. I apologize. Did my question go through? about information
It
for the
did, yeah, and
residents?
Lieutenant George will address that when
Okay.
he gives his report.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. Thank you.
We're
And
good.
then also, I would like to, on old business, I would like to add an item to discuss Anthony Gray's bill in old business, please. Thank you.
Well, we've approved the agenda, and I'm not inclined to, we've discussed that at 3 meetings now, and I don't know that there's anything gonna change on that.
Well, I will, as a council member, and Anthony Gray has been working for the city of Normandy, and you have even also used him several times to answer questions. This is getting ridiculous, and the amount of money is still accumulating that we need to pay him for the services that he did do for us that has benefited for the city of Normandy. I would like to make a motion that we pay Anthony Gray immediately the full amount of money that he owes, that we owe him. And I would like to see if I can get a second on that.
Okay,
Yeah, you got-
I'll tell you what, Councilman Hunt, I'll entertain your motion and I'll take the vote, but it's illegal for me to pay Anthony Gray without a contract, and I can't be compelled to sign the contract. We've been over this numerous times.
Anthony Gray,
There's just not gonna be anything changed.
Is
over
Anthony
this.
Gray-
Anthony Gray was elected and voted to
and
be
he
our
gave you the
council.
contract.
Would
And
this
you have the
I
contract.
realize that.
agenda to
All right,
be
listen.
modified?
We're not addressing this again tonight. We've spent
I've
many
got a
hours
motion.
on this same
I
issue,
have a
many meetings.
motion.
We're gonna
There's a
move on.
motion on the floor.
Would
Is
this
Anthony
require
Gray
the
on
agenda
here?
to be modified?
Is
All right,
Anthony Gray still on
there's a
here?
motion on the floor by Councilman Hunt that the city of Normandy pay Attorney Gray his invoice. Is there a second?
I second the motion. This is Councilwoman Wanda Smith.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like
Thank
this is out of order because this is not on the agenda and it seems like this.
I
would
think this will take less time than going round and round.
Okay.
Well, he said he entertained it,
We
so
have a
be
motion
quiet.
that the city pay Anthony Gray his invoice. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
The ayes have it, motion carries.
So now, since there's a motion on the floor, it passed, and the
Yes.
council has instructed you to pay Anthony Gray the amount of money that he
Right.
is owed.
Right.
And are you going to pay him, or are you going to defy the
No.
will of the council?
No, I'm
So
not.
you're-
I'm not. I've explained it so many times. I don't know how many more ways I can say it. You've made your motion. You've made your point. You've had your vote.
I would
and-
just like to say, we have the agenda and people are.
Ms. Campbell, I have the floor. And
No, you-
I have
Ms.
the
Campbell,
floor,
you're
and
being
I'm
rude.
talking-
He
I'm
has the
talking
floor.
at this
You're
time.
being rude.
So
Councilman Hunt,
I have
this
the
is not on
floor.
the agenda. We've
I have the
discussed it at length. You made your motion. You stated
So-
your
so
position.
once
There's
again-
nothing you can say it's gonna change anything. So let's move on.
So I'd
Let's
like
move
to
on.
make a motion, a second motion, because you're
No,
clearly,
I'm not
you're
entertaining a
clearly
second motion.
not
We're
going
moving on
to
with the business
pay
at
the
hand.
bills. and
Excuse me,
people
One
Can I
conversation at a
speak?
time,
because
please.
No,
because we're not
please, we're-
getting
we're
anywhere with
sticking-
this. I would like to
Legit-
speak on sanitation, please.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Can I speak on sanitation?
There's a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the floor. Can
The
we
motion
finish that
was-
You
first?
guys already voted.
Councilman Hunt,
So what you gonna do? Have a
No,
second
he-
vote?
Mr. Gray, are you?
He did
are
another
you present,
motion.
Mr. Gray,
I am present.
would you,
Mr. Gray.
there's a motion on the
Listen.
floor.
all right, listen, we've passed an agenda. We're sticking to it. We've got business to attend to. This will not change anything.
There was another
wait, but-
motion on the
I-
floor,
I-
but you
I'm not
cut him off.
entertaining the motion because it's the same as the
But
first motion.
a agenda can be amended and changed,
We've
and it can
already
be added to it.
approved the agenda. We
But the
approved the agenda
was
at the front end of this
approved.
meeting.
This is not
You had
on.
an opportunity. Let's
So-
You
move
are,
on.
so
you
let me
all are
help-
making
let me
this
help you
more
guys
than it
out.
has
All
to
right,
be.
Attorney Gray,
Mr.
hold
Gray
on for a
is
Stop.
speaking.
Stop.
Mr.
Hold
Gray
on for a
is
second.
speaking.
Hold on. I
Listen,
think
everybody can't talk. Mr. Gray,
Councilwoman Campbell
Thank
has a
you.
point. You do have to follow the agenda as it is set forth in front of you. I think what happened is you were doing councilperson's report, and under that reporting is when all began to happen. I think Councilman Hunt obtained the floor, got recognition, and I'm assuming he's doing these things under his report. However, I do agree that we do need to stick with the agenda. We can get to this at any time. Old business, you can bring up any old business that has been previously
That's what I was
discussed
asking.
in front of the board. You could do that under old business. It does not have to be on the agenda. It's old business.
And
Okay?
that's what my
Thank you, sir.
recommendation was. My recommendation
Okay,
was to bring this up in old business.
Okay,
let's
well,
move
then
on
that's
to
fine.
the,
So get back on point. She raised a
well,
good point.
while
of
you're
order.
on,
I think it
Mr.
should be
Gray,
sustained.
do you have any other report to give?
I do not have a report. I do want to straighten out one thing that was stated that I take issue with. I do not have to
Go
have a
ahead.
contract signed by the city in order to be paid for services rendered to the city. I don't know where that came from. That is not true. People render services to the city all the time without contract, and you pay them. So we don't necessarily have to have my contract signed by you in order to pay for the services that I've already rendered. So I did want to.
Thank you. Lieutenant George.
From the date of the last council meeting to today's date, there has been 42 traffic citations issued. Approximately 500 calls for service, 52 police reports were taken.
We can't hear him.
I'll move him closer.
Of the police reports, the most notable was a report that was taken on September 14th when officers responded to the area of Florissant Road at Normandy Trace for a double shooting that occurred in the area of Natural Bridge at Florissant Road. The victims and witnesses stated that while leaving an area bar, two groups began shooting at each other, and two non-involved victims were hit by stray bullets. One victim was struck in the hand, the other victim was struck in the shoulder. The victim that was struck in the hand was cooperative with police, but did not know the parties involved and was struck in the hand while taking cover. The victim who was struck in the shoulder was also not involved, but refused to cooperate with police during this investigation. This is an ongoing investigation at this time. That was the most notable out of the 52 police reports that was taken. Okay. Any questions?
Were these people coming from the Courtyard Bar and Grill?
They were congregating across the street at the O'Reilly's, which is kind of the overflow parking for the area bar. Yes. Yes. Two groups got into it.
So they work at the Courtyard Bar and Grill?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We don't know if they were coming or going at that time, but they were there for the bar and grill. Yes. Yes, there was a very large crowd that night. There was parking across the street in the small strip mall right there and at O'Reilly's parking and next door at Afro World. Two groups got into it. Like I said, we don't know if these groups were leaving the bar at the time or just getting there. And the shots rang out between the two. Cars went in multiple different directions. We were unable to locate a shooter at that time, but we had two victims that were fled the scene, but called from nearby locations.
Is this the first time that you've had a shooting related to that area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We've had multiple incidents up there. I think this might have been the second one within the month where we got a call for a victim reference to a shooting in the area. A lot of times it's people just kind of, in the area of the bar, but may not be visiting the bar, but they're there. They're there. They're congregating. They're partying out of their vehicles. They're just kind of wreaking havoc in the area because of the crowd at the bar and grill.
And this might not be, I have just one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
This might be something that you know. Before this time of the 1-year license that they've had, can you say that there's been an increase in activity since the acquiring?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's to the point where every Friday and Saturday night, we have an officer that if we can spare one that we post up there during closing time, just because the crowd's so large and so wild as they're exiting. Yes, but if we get calls in other locations, I mean, the officer has to go to other calls. And it seems like when the officer's not there at closing time, we get calls to go right back up there anyway.
Thank you so much for your service.
No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, what were their ages, may I ask?
That since it's an ongoing investigation, sir, I'm really not allowed to answer much more about the details of the case. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
They
do
were
have
of
a,
age. They were of age to be in the bar. I can say that. Everyone was over 21.
I do have a question. What about the other areas of Normandy? Because you can still hear shootings in the other areas as well. Are there any reportings? Because I have heard some, but I can't tell where they're coming from. I mean, they could even be coming from Cool Valley, which we do patrol as well.
Oh man, we get calls for shots fired so often. As I was looking through the call notes for the CAD for our calls, we've had, we can get 10, 12, 15 calls for shots fired a month. I mean, that's it. People think it's sometimes, gunfire, and it could be fireworks, or sometimes people that live near the highway can call for shots fired because they're hearing shots as cars are going down the highway. People shoot their gun in the air out of the window. It could be anything and everything. We get calls for shots fired on the fitness trail all the time.
Okay.
So
Can they
it can happen
patrol
anywhere.
a little more at certain times when they hear these shots being fired?
Oh, sure. We always try to patrol more where crowds are gathering. Absolutely. But, we never know when someone's going to decide to pull out a gun and start shooting.
Right. Of course.
If we knew that would be there.
Right. No, I understand. I just kind of wanted to get a general idea, and also for people to hear, what's going on, so we can be a little more knowledgeable and understanding. And then if anyone else has questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously shots fired is a very serious call. So, I mean, people that hear shots fired, don't try to call the non-emergency line or the station here at Normandy. That's a 911 call. We need to get to that location as fast as we can. So 911, anytime shots fired, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
All right, thank you, sir.
No problem.
Good job, George.
We'll tell you that Chief Hall is absent this meeting because he's at another meeting at Bell Ridge tonight. They have their council meeting also tonight. Old business. First on the list is the ordinance to access cell tower funds. In the course of doing research on a different issue, I came across ordinance number 742 that states that the only way these funds can be accessed is by ordinance. We took a vote at the last meeting or the one before to use the cell tower funds to make automatic payments on the building across the street, and that's fine, but it's kind of moot because we didn't pass it by ordinance, which is required. So if it's the council's pleasure, I will scan and fax a copy of this to Mr. Gray and prepare an ordinance to do the same and make it effective retroactive to the beginning of our fiscal year, which is October 1.
No problem.
I'm sorry?
I said no problem. No problem.
Thank you. Any input on that issue?
But this is
Okay,
council.
And just so I'm clear, Mayor, you're saying that there has been a decision to use those funds to pay the monthly mortgage on the building, but that decision was not memorialized in an ordinance. That's what
That
you're
is
saying.
correct, sir.
All right.
Yes.
So now you want to have one drafted that would be retroactive to the date that they made a monthly payment from that fund yet?
We have, and it can be made retroactive to that date or to the fiscal year. I'm indifferent to how we work that out. But right now, those payments are being made out of the, no, it's not a general fund, I don't believe. I think it's our, where our truck repairs and everything come out on. I'm trying to think.
Oh, capital improvement.
Capital improvement, yes, thank you. And
Okay.
it absolutely drains our capital improvement fund. We have no money to do anything if we use those dollars to make payments on the building across the street. So that's the issue. And I think it'll be more clear when we go over the budget with Angela Dorn. Our budget right now is $66,000 in the red. And that $66,000 is the payments on this building, probably closer to 60. I'm trying to recall the exact number, but we've got those funds in the bank. So even though it's a deficit budget, the dollars are in the bank, and that's what they were dedicated to at any rate. So that's it'll make more sense when Angela talks to you about the budget that she's prepared.
This is Councilmember Maurice Hunt speaking.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
The vote that we took was illegal because the simple fact was you had the council members muted, or you dropped them, and you use your own words that they said that they sustained from the vote. And you cannot speak for a council member and say sustain. That person must say sustain themselves. So if you call on them and they're trying to unmute their phone, or they got dumped and they're trying to call back in because they didn't say anything because someone muted them, that vote do not count. It has to be a new re-vote on those funds.
I don't disagree with, I do disagree with the premise of your argument, but it's moot because we've already determined that
it's not moved because what was the vote?
Mr. Hunt, it's irrelevant because the vote didn't have any force and effect in law because it requires an ordinance. We just went through that. So
it doesn't have to go to an ordinance if we never even passed the vote. If we didn't pass the vote, there's no need for an ordinance.
Oh my goodness sake. It seemed that it was the majority opinion.
What's the vote?
I will bring this to the council for a vote. It will pass or it won't. There's no point in arguing whether the first vote was legal or illegal. It's pointless.
So excuse me, can Nelson speak, please?
Go ahead, Rick.
So what you're saying is you illegally passed a vote to take money from.
I'm not saying I did anything illegal. Mr.
Okay, well, I won't say. Well, let me finish talking. So what you're saying is you passed a vote to take funds from an unrestricted fund to pay bills, and you did that, but the vote was not done properly. That's what you're saying. So, but you want to do it.
But
right,
it's moot. Since that vote, I've discovered this ordinance.
Right. Okay. So now
I don't have the authority with a simple resolution to access those funds. It has to be done by ordinance.
I got you. So let me finish. So we have to have the vote before our mayor, actually our council, puts together an ordinance. And also I wanted to state that, our last council that we had didn't have a signed contract either. Mr. Garrett's firm, they never signed a contract either. So it's not necessary for a contract to be signed to pay our legal counsel that the board voted in. So that's correct what he stated. And just getting back to what you're saying, that we need to have a vote for this. So I think that you'll have to put that on the board, and I don't think that the board's going to vote for that right now.
I would like to make a motion to re-vote on the restricted funds for the cell site. I would like to see, can I get a
any
second?
vote on those funds is pointless because it requires an ordinance to access those funds. So we're talking about something that has
somehow it's getting lost in translation. Here's what's happening. There is no vote, there is no action that has been solidified through vote that you guys have to undo right now. Gotcha. It's been undone by operation of law because it didn't follow the law in the first place. So it's automatically undone. There is no need to do a new one. What will happen is that when the ordinance is presented to the board, the council, you guys will then have an opportunity to review, debate, and vote on the ordinance at that time. If you choose not to use those restricted funds at that time, that's your desire, that's how you should vote. So I think
Thank you, sir. I
all
appreciate
minds
that.
should be clear at this point.
Okay. Thank you, Anthony. So also, I would like to make a change to the ordinance because evidently you went up and looked up an old ordinance to change the time of the council meeting to 7:30. And for the last 15 years, we've been having a council meeting at 6:30.
That's not accurate. I will tell
Okay,
you,
okay,
15
but I
years ago,
have the
I was on
motion.
the council and
Okay.
we had meetings at 7:30.
I think
Okay,
since 2015.
I'm indifferent. Listen.
So
let me
I have the
address
floor.
it.
I have the
address it.
floor.
You
And
have the floor.
I
if I
would like
give you
to,
the floor.
I would like to make a change to the ordinance that makes it at 6:30.
Okay,
And I
Hey,
need a
I have,
second.
this is Tony. I have a question for Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray, do you need an ordinance to change it?
Yes, sir. But what
Okay.
is happening tonight is this often happens in council meetings. You would make a decision by motion, which becomes an order. It becomes an order to draft the ordinance to me. So if you go through the process of making a motion, second it, that you want it to be set at 6:30, then that becomes an order for me to draft an ordinance, which is then adopted at the next meeting. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Thank
And
you,
we
it
still
does.
have
And
to
I will tell
adopt
you-
the ordinance at the next meeting. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I'm indifferent as to when we have these meetings. I'm not indifferent to following city code. So right now, our code says regular meetings are at 7:30 on the first Tuesday. If the council wishes to make that change, I have no objection to that.
Well, I have a motion on the floor to make that change. I need a second.
I'll call for the second, please. We have a motion by Councilman Hunt to change the meeting times for regularly scheduled meetings to 6:30. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Who was that, please?
I think it was Tony. He said it before me.
Is that Councilman Evans' second?
No.
I need
No,
the second.
that's me.
No, that was Rick Nelson second.
Nelson is the second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And we'll get that ordinance written up.
All right, next business of old business
I'm
is
calling
Anthony
it,
Gray.
Yeah, go ahead. Hang on a minute. Let's see. Okay, any other old business?
Yes, Anthony Gray.
Okay,
Old business is that Anthony Gray has submitted a bill to be paid by the city of Normandy that is overdue. Our previous attorney, Steve Garrett's law firm, whatever their name may be, never had a contract that was never signed. He was voted and approved on to be our attorney. We have been using him. You just used him now, and he needs to be paid. He needs to be paid immediately.
okay. I'll tell you what, Councilman Hunt, I've just been advised by our city attorney that that a contract is not required. I will tell you, I'm getting counsel from a private attorney contrary to that. So let me research that. If I can legally do it, I'm not gonna have a problem with it. If I can't legally do it, I'm not gonna do it. So.
All right. So hold on for a
You're
second.
giving us an excuse. You're giving us an excuse, and that's
Okay.
still delaying him from getting paid. And he has done the work. He has worked for you, and now you're going to go and get a private law firm to agree with you, and he's our Normandy city attorney?
Yes, sir. That's what
No.
I did.
So
Yes,
you're going to
Now,
defy,
listen,
you're going to defy the will of the council that advised you to pay him, and you're telling us that you're going to refuse what the council is telling you
Councilman Hunt,
to pay
you have
him.
made your position crystal clear. No one misunderstands your position. There's no more to be done about it, okay? Everybody
No, there's more
understands
to be
your
done
position.
about it, because I would
Well,
like to, since you
I know
do
what
not
you would
want to
like to
pay,
do.
but pay Anthony Gray, I would like to make a motion to reduce your spending limit from $5,000 to $500.
Oh, that's.
And that could be
Well,
changed in ordinance.
That would require ordinance
Okay.
also.
All I need is a second, and Auntie
Maurice,
Gray can make
I
that change.
second it.
I'm chairing
I
the meeting,
second that.
please.
I second it. I second it.
Okay. You're looking for an ordinance to reduce the emergency spending authority of the mayor from $5,000 to $500.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What would this accomplish? I'm sorry.
I have no idea. This would mean that when the trash truck broke down, no one would have gotten their trash picked up, because I can't do that for $500.
No,
Okay.
Trust me, just move forward and we'll keep moving on with this. Thank you.
All right. You can address that under new business, Mr. Hunt. We've got a business license to address. The address is 7320 Florissant Road. It's a 3-person office building, home health care. The only activity at that building is phone service and scheduling. The inspection's been done, it passed. It's right at the wedge, that corner wedge building. And I don't see any issues with this at all. Like I say, they've got adequate parking for the 3 employees that are gonna be there. And if there's no objection, then it's the Humble Haven Care Service LLC. And what takes place at this particular business is just scheduling. They schedule home care nurses.
We were not provided that paperwork.
I know, and that's
Can
my
we get
fault.
copies of that?
Yes, I agree.
I'll tell
We
you
were
what,
not
and that's on
provided
me.
that paperwork.
I just failed to send it out. I would really like to, they've had this
Sorry, I think we
inspection.
table that until we get
Well,
paperwork.
Well, you're not hurting me by tabling it, I assure you, but there's people that would like to get this business up and running. I assured them I'd put it on the agenda tonight. It was on the agenda. If anyone had questions, they could have.
You may
called
have
me.
put it on the agenda, but normally we receive paperwork for new business licenses, and you know that.
Okay.
So yeah, I would like to see the paperwork and
All right.
everything.
What information would you like? I can give it all
All
to you
of
right
it.
now. All right.
All of it.
Humble Care Service LLC, 7320 Florissant Road. It's a home health care network, and that's all that's on the application. They've got 3 employees. They do scheduling for home care nurses. They don't require additional parking. There's no one visits the business. It's strictly office space. And it's been inspected by our inspector. It passed. And they're ready to go to work, and they're real anxious to go. And I don't see an issue with an office building with 3 employees and 3 phones.
This is across the street from St. Vincent's, correct?
This is the building right at the wedge. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate to put these people off. We got a business that has come to our city. We're struggling to get business. We're struggling to retain business, and I just don't want to put these people off a month.
Is our inspector on this meeting so where we can ask them questions? If our inspector's not here, then
Raymond
I would like.
Winston inspected it and he passed it.
I'd like to see what he passed to make sure that he inspected it correctly.
This is so
That's why we
cumbersome.
look at this.
I'll tell you what, I'm hoping that the majority does not want to run off a business that has chosen to come to the city of Normandy. I'm looking for a motion to pass the business license for Humble Haven Care Services, please.
I will make a motion for that.
Motion by Campbell. Do I have a second? Lacking a second, the motion fails. I'll tell you what, people, if you want business to come to this city, you can't.
Mark,
treat them
Becky,
like
can we
this.
go to the next thing? Could you please move forward, please? Thank you.
I'm just curious if there was a question on this, why the phone wasn't picked up. It's so frustrating. Now I've got I don't know what our practice has been in the past. I can tell you in years past what we've done. On some years, we would get an exclusive on our sewer lateral to have one company do all the work. And other years, we'd have them bid one at a time. These are the first two bids I've seen. And I quite frankly don't know how they've been handled in the past. But Taupe Plumbing did the camera work on these, and I know Taupe has done a lot of work for us. But I've got a bid for 7702 Augusta for a sewer lateral repair of $5,400. And I've got one at 3629 St. Mary's Lane for $6,400. The homeowners pay their portion of that. And I will tell you, both of these are causing potholes in our streets. And I think they need to be addressed real quickly. Now, if the council gives me approval on these, I'm going to go ahead and get them started. If you want me to go out and bid these jobs, it's going to delay it quite a bit. I don't have an objection with that. But I will tell you, St. Mary's Lane has a pothole that somebody can drop a tire in right now. And there's a depression on Marietta from the Augusta sewer lateral leak that has the street in the middle is sunk about 4 to 5 inches. And there's going to be a sinkhole there too. I would really like to move forward with these two. Any input from the council?
Yes, I have a question. Is this because
Yes,
of the sewer lateral problem?
Yes. Yeah, the sewer lateral is causing the street to sink both on Marietta and on St. Mary's Lane. And like I say, for that reason, I'd like to move forward and get these taken care of. They're not limited to the front yards of the homeowners.
So
I don't know
has
if
this
anybody's
area,
driven down Augusta, you can see that hole in the street, and it's gonna be a problem here real soon.
has the area been scope marked?
The camera work was
Has they
done,
put a
yeah.
camera down in there and
Yep,
to take a look?
Yes, they did. And it needs to be replaced. There's a separation. In fact, yeah, I've got the report right here. So, like I said,
why we do not have the copy of your report?
What would you do with it, Maurice?
We look at everything that considers
let me tell you,
of Normandy
it's
spending
23 foot
money
of 6-inch
towards
lateral
anything.
starting 23 foot of 6-inch lateral starting an outgoing side of vent trap to MSD main. Sawcut street. repair sinkhole.
Everything that you asked of us, we get a package so we can look at it, so we can judge for ourselves and have questions. And you're asking us to approve something that you have all the information in front of you.
I'm asking you to approve a bid for $6,400 for a sewer lateral that's affecting our street on Marietta.
What's the name of the bid that you have in front of you, and what's the name of the other two bids that you have in front of you?
I don't have the other two bids. That's what I'm asking you. In the past, we have given exclusives on some occasions. I don't know if we've done that with Taupe Plumbing because I see that he's done some work for us this year already. I've not signed any bids for Taupe Plumbing. That was Regina Fitzgerald did that.
Required three. It requires 3 bid. I'm gonna hold you up to it. I think you need to go ahead and get the other 2
Well, I
bids.
hope we don't have a sinkhole in. So it doesn't require 3. I'm not aware, but
Is this part of our sewer lateral program?
yeah, there's funds in the sewer lateral, and we've managed them different ways in the past. If you get 3 bids on every one of these, people are just going to stop bidding them. They just won't bid them.
I'm just gonna say this happened when I purchased my home. Just so people have background of in the council, I did have a sewer lateral problem. This is when Rodney was alive. I had someone put a camera down. They gave the bid to Normandy. Normandy came in, paid their half. I paid my half, and it was fixed within a week. That's just how the process went. It was my understanding from what I found out in this whole thing with Normandy and with Rodney is that this is how it goes because this is part of the program, and Taupe is the sewer lateral person that we use just because it's going to be quick and easy and they give us a good price and they're part of the program. Just giving you information.
Is the bid from Taupe?
You fell off, Maurice.
Is the bid from Taupe?
Yes, it is.
Tope has done a lot of work for us. I guess a resident shouldn't suffer from the negligence of not getting all the information to the council. I guess we'll have to make a decision.
Thank
That's to your pleasure if you wish.
May I speak?
What I'll look for then is a motion.
Walter was speaking.
Go ahead, Councilman Moss.
I've used that Suter lateral. I haven't used it in a long time, but I will say that I don't remember ever needing to approve sewer lateral work. That is an insurance that the residents has. Now, Rodney has come to us and told us how much sewer lateral has cost in his budget, but I don't think we've ever had to approve. Not saying
Well,
that that's right, but we've never.
You are 100% right. It automatically just gets done.
Yeah.
Especially if Tote do it and Tote submits the contract and we sign it and then move forward. We have never.
Well, that's my
ever
understanding also, but I'm just trying to be careful. I don't want to sign a check for $6,400 that the council's not aware of. The other one is $5,400.
Well, it's over your approval rate, so you're doing right.
So what I'm looking for is a motion then to approve the Tote bid for 3629 St. Mary's Lane in the amount of $6,400 for a sewer lateral repair.
I'll make a motion.
So moved by Campbell, a second by Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Who was opposed? Thank you. The ayes have it. Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the Tote Plumbing bid to make a sewer lateral repair at 7702 Augusta Avenue in the amount of $5,400.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Evans. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Campbell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Let's move on.
Mayor Beckman, this might be out of order, but the person with the business license.
Yes.
Says in the chat, I was assured this would be on the meeting, and the state of Missouri has given me a deadline of November 1st to provide a business license. I've paid 2 months rent to this office, and I'm really ready and willing to do what I need to do to be able to operate.
I will bring this back to the council at the budget meeting next week and get to them. I don't know what information is lacking, but I'll give to them a copy of the application and bring this back up again in 1 week. Let me look at the agenda, see where we're at. The next thing I'd like to address, and I've been talking about it for a while, and part of it is my lack of IT knowledge. I want to, and for this reason I want to, we're paying in excess of $90 an hour for IT maintenance and repair by Regis. Now we have to use Regis for our security, but we don't have to use them for our repair. We've got phone systems that are outdated, and these are not issues that I'm adept at. What I'd like to do is hire on a part-time basis, and I can hire Officer Moore for $20 an hour. And by putting him on the payroll, he has access to our computer network. And that will be limited access, whatever Regis approves him of doing. But I will let Tom address the reasons and the money we can save and the issues that we have. Take about 5 minutes, Tom, and explain to the council, please, what we're doing here. I'm going to turn this over to Tom.
Good evening, council. So basically what we're looking at is as the mayor alluded to, it's $90 an hour for Regis to come in here and do basic IT work. And where we've had an issue and where there's a problem here is that there isn't a subset of IT knowledge. So we're depending on Regis in the past up until this point to, be our guide, to take care of things that need to be taken care of. The problem is that not having that skill set here, we tend to call for every little thing and anything that happens, like moving a computer from one office to another, minor issues that can be repaired remotely. Regis has a model that isn't part of the industry standard. They don't have a help desk to where you can call, submit a ticket, and somebody will remotely work on the computer. They pretty much wait for a tech to come out here. It affects the police department, especially because things are slow to get repaired. Printers in the cars, laptops in the cars. There was a sergeant that went for probably about a month and a half, 2 months without a car computer due to delays. So we're also not getting the service out of them that we should, for what we're paying. For the last 6 months, we've had a $35,000 cost overrun of various issues that are just out of control. The phone system is another issue, in itself. I'm prepared to speak on that on a high level and give you a number, and we can change service and get a brand new phone system for less than what we're paying for our phone system right now. So that's essentially where we're at. With me being in that role prior to police work, I'm a 15-year IT guy, sales engineer, network administration, network infrastructure, break fix, help desk, you name it, I've done it. So I'm very well versed in what needs to be done. I did help with some things as far as forms development and some things here at the police department. My supervisors, can attest to, what help I did provide. And I can provide you any reference that you need from the IT realm as far as companies that I've worked for, project management, IT, anything along those lines, if that would, help you all make a decision. But it's in the best interest of the city that we have to get control of this, because it's an open book at this point if we keep having these things. And a majority of these issues are small things that the police department, the city hall can just, submit a ticket, right click on an icon in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, submit a ticket, and I can take care of it in the evenings. And at much less than, I can probably knock out, 3 or 4 of the common things that happen. I can knock that out in less than an hour. So we've had times where Regis has been here all day and they've accomplished 3 or 4 things. And it's just the bill's out of control. And it gets much more deeper than this, but I don't want to, I'm not going to get in the weeds on it. There's many technical things. There was a purchase that was made to upgrade our email to the Exchange server that we're on now. And they didn't back it as far as it wasn't installed properly. And they have been billing us for every time that they have to come in and fix an issue with it. And that's not right. Whenever you have a scope of work and you say, hey, I'm going to install Exchange 2019, you install it properly. You don't keep billing the city to come back and fix issues that were the result of an improper installation. Not to mention the fact that it's nothing that should have been recommended in the first place. We should have moved to the cloud, to the Exchange cloud, to the government cloud, when that was a consideration, and get rid of our premise-based server and to where we don't have ongoing infrastructure costs. So, we just hemorrhage money in the IT area that we can control and we can do something with. If y'all are at the liberty to allow me to help with that, I would be the POC, and basically everything would come with me. Anything that's Regis related, we'll pass off to Regis. Anything that we can do in-house, we'll do it in-house.
Hey, this is Councilmember Maurice Hunt.
Yes, sir.
What's your name again? What's your name?
Tom Moore.
Tom Moore. You had us at hello, so let's vote you in.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else got questions for Tom before I steal this iPad from him?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Tom one question.
Yes, sir.
Tom, was that any type of negligence on their part for what they did, or was just our mistake?
No, it's just the fact that there's nobody here that has an IT set. it's not anybody's real fault as far as anybody at the police department or at City Hall or anything else like that. All they knew what to do is to call Regis. So it's nobody's here. It's nothing to do with anybody here. I think anybody admittedly from, anybody you talk to at the police department would, readily admit that, that's just not that's not their lane, right? It's not IT.
Well,
So
who,
if something goes wrong, they call.
Right. So Tom, who handled that for us previously? Did you know, or does anyone here know?
It was Sharon beforehand is where a lot of that stuff got approved. Was it Sharon Warren? Is that right?
Yeah.
It was Sharon Warren that approved most of it, and that was driving that. That's where a majority of that $30,000 bill came into play.
Okay, yeah. So that so there was negligence when you say.
So let's vote and move forward.
Thank you. Actually, this is not an appointed position. It's a part-time hire without benefits.
Okay.
We don't need to take a vote. I did want to run it by the council though and get your input on it. And if everybody's good with it, I'll move forward with it. And like I say, it's going to save us a ton of money.
I would like to mention just one little tidbit.
Go ahead, please.
The Municipal League and also the National League of Cities is actually in like the next 6 weeks having a seminar on cybersecurity. So maybe that's something that we should look into, just recommendations for how to keep your network safe.
Yeah, is that kind of, excuse me.
Tom suggested he just said he can make that meeting.
Okay, Mayor, will there be a backup person for Tom?
Oh, there's no backup person, but Regis is still here. If there's something out of his lane or a security issue that he's not able to enter, a world that he can't go into, then Regis takes over. But there's so many issues he can manage that Regis does not need to be involved in. And he can make a lot of recommendations to the council too. One of them that he mentioned me was this server that we're at great risk using a server located in this city hall. That's old technology. Everything should be on the cloud. If we have a server go down, and it's very near capacity now, we're in big trouble. We lose all of our information. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Council, just so you know, to what the mayor is referring to, our current situation with the server is that we don't have an adequate backup process that falls under the categories of cybersecurity, because this is something that I sold as a sales engineer. In the cybersecurity realm, we basically take this information and we back it up off-site, and we do what's called snapshots, and it prevents against any type of ransomware. Our current situation, we are a heartbeat away from losing all the data that we've got if it gets breached. We've got some pretty good firewalls up that Regis has provided as far as at the gate, right? So it's very difficult to get to the gate, but if one person inside the network does what's called a phishing attack, where they open up an email or a weaponized document that looks legit, and it gets loose on our network, we don't have those kind of securities in place. And we have an old school backup using the old school server software with a USB drive.
Well, Tom, Tom, can you ask this question?
Yes, sir.
Most municipalities have 1 or 2 people doing that.
Some do, some don't. Usually it's just one. Sometimes it's a full-time IT guy in most larger agencies and most larger cities. Sometimes it's a part-time. Sometimes it's like a third party, what's called an MSP provider, which is what Regis was attempting to do. They're just doing it all wrong. So at some point we could look at doing a third party MSP, which we had somebody that we were looking at, but we need the council to sign off on signing the non-disclosure agreement in order for them to do a network analysis and move forward, and can give you a monthly price based on that. I can guarantee you it will be a lot less expensive than $35,000 in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we move forward, Mr. Beckman?
Yeah, if nobody else has any questions for Tom, we're going to move forward to citizens' comments, please.
No, this is new business, and I had a motion on the floor to reduce your spending from 5,000 to 500.
Well, all right, we have a motion to reduce the emergency spending authorization of the mayor from $5,000 to $500. Is there a second?
There was,
There was
Lawanda
a second.
second.
Irma Ratcliffe seconded.
Yes.
Yeah, Irma.
We have a second by Ratliff, and we can talk about this. I take no pleasure in spending $5,000. I will tell you, during the storm, a tree fell over Florissant Road. I got a call from Regina that Florissant Road and Augusta Road were blocked at 6 o'clock in the morning by a large sycamore tree. The bid was $3,700 to have that removed. It needed to be removed immediately. Okay, with a $500 limit, we would have had to wait for a meeting of the council to have a tree removed off Florissant Road. If I have a truck breakdown, I can't tow it for $500. If it's a trash truck, if they have a big piece of equipment.
After we make this decision, the city of Normandy and the council will form a committee, and the committee will be working with the mayor on how to spend and pay our vendors promptly, on time, and efficiently.
Well, they're getting paid properly, on time, and efficiently now.
No, they're
That wasn't
not. That's the
case
reason
in
why
past.
Gold Star, that's the reason why
Okay.
Gold Star don't even want to touch us.
That happened well
that-
before
that-
me,
that-
sir.
that-
That happened well
that-
before me.
that
That
and
Gold Star is
also-
not the issue. What
We
I'm
have a
telling you
motion on
is-
the floor. I would
And
like
we're
for you
having
to
a
make a
discussion,
vote.
sir. We're having a discussion. If you want the tree to lay in Florissant Road until the next city council meeting, if you want the trash truck to sit by the side of the highway until the next council meeting, what else? I had another expenditure that were the trash. We had our
Are you
trash
done?
truck breakdown.
Mr.
And our
But you-
trash.
You're not even fixing the trash trucks.
I'm speaking, sir. Please, I did not interrupt you.
Yeah,
Our trash truck broke down. We had no way to pick up the trash. I had to do something fast. That was $3,200. Now, following that first $3,200 expenditure, I came to the council and said, do you want to do this for 6 more weeks? And you said yes. But the first week, it needed to be done now. And I can't do that for $500. Now, you'll handcuff me, and you're going to, when the calls come in, I'm going to give them your personal phone number. I'm not going to deal with it.
I just like to say, I think that it's important to understand that when you have a business, Normandy is a business, there's nothing that you can do for $500. I mean, I'm a single mom. I walk out the door and I spend $200, and it's not on me. So
let's move forward to the vote. Then,
Sir,
if
you are not
it-
chairing this meeting.
I don't understand
Campbell has the floor, please.
I don't understand how crippling or putting handcuffs or on someone for this small amount of money is going to help the city if we have, once again, another storm where, like he said, a tree.
it's going to make
Talking, sir. I'm still talking. If we have a storm where a tree goes down, if we have a trash truck, like he said, that gets broken, if we have a building where the tree goes on top of the building, that does not in any way, shape, or form help a citizen or our community to have something crippling like that on our official. You're not asking him, you're not saying that he's not spending $20,000. This is $5,000. This is a small amount of money. And he's come to us every time and said, I have to spend $6,500. Is this okay?
No, he hasn't.
Excuse me.
He literally just did. So
Yolanda?
I think that I'm still talking, sir. Thank you.
But you over your 3 minutes.
It would be
Yes, Maurice, please do not interrupt.
Inappropriate for us to put that on, to put that limitation on him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, can I add something? This is Rick Nelson.
Go
Can I add
ahead.
something?
Look, it's getting late.
It's getting late, but I want to ask this. We could come up with a resolution for Angela Dorn to pay our bills. That's what we hired her for, if necessary. Because if I understand, I think our last council, he was paid anywhere from $32,000 to $52,000. I was told. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but Mayor Beckman, can you enlighten me on
I
that?
have no idea what you're talking about. Who are you talking about us paying $32,000 to $52,000?
I think it was the last lawyer that we have for the city.
Oh, I think it went well over that. Yeah, that in a year's time, I'm confident it was well over.
No, I don't think it was a year. I think it was several months.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, there's been invoices. Well,
Right.
let me ask
But
this question.
what I'm saying,
What-
I'm finished
okay,
now,
go ahead,
Mr.
go ahead,
Beckman.
go
What
ahead.
I'm saying is, you paid him and he didn't have a contract. We have a lawyer now that you're not paying, and he doesn't have a contract either signed by you, but the board voted him in.
Okay,
So
this issue we're not going into again,
I
Rick.
know, but
My
let me say
goodness
let me say one other thing. Let me just say one other thing, please. Previously, when we had board meetings, we would get a packet. A police officer would come to my door, kindly police officer, one of our great Normandy police officers, and I think they give every board member would get a packet of the minutes and everything, all the agenda, the whole thing, and we don't have that, and that's why I think we're having problems. If you have transparency and get those packets out to us, and our officers will kindly deliver them to every board member, and we can get things done instead of having things done without our input. And if we can get back to that, I think that things will try and get better. And anybody else got anything to say about that?
Hang on. I don't know. Go ahead.
And members of the community, will we have a chance to speak before this meeting is over?
I'm
Because
hoping
we
so.
deserve a
I'm
chance.
certainly hoping so. I will say this, you're going to tie my hands, and if that's your intention, which I believe, Mr. Hunt, that is your intention, then that's what you're going to do.
Mr. Gray on the line. Mr. Gray,
I am here.
could you intervene, please?
I'm not sure what there is to explain other than the fact that there's a motion to limit the emergency spending power from 5,000 to 500. The rationales are being debated as right now. At the conclusion of this, there will be a vote. And at which time either the spending power is limited or it isn't. That's the way I'm following the discussion thus far. So
now I have a little concern because he's saying emergency. I'm talking about total spending.
Okay, so then that's a little bit of education I need. I'm understanding the emergency spending power.
No, total spending, day-to-day operation.
So we're talking about discretionary spending power from 5,000 to 500.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then you just made that clear for me. And I hope everyone else is clear that the emergency spending power remains at 5,000 or whatever that limit was prior to today. We're talking about the discretionary spending power. So I hope all minds are on the same page at this point, that we're not talking about the tree in the middle of the street, because he would still have authority to do the expenditure to clear that up.
Exactly.
Well, I will tell you this, that I can't have Gold Star go out and repair the limb chipper or the 5-ton truck, the air brakes on the 5-ton dump, without us having another city council meeting. It's going to be over
Mr. Mayor,
$500.
I would disagree with you, sir. If it's an emergency and that truck needs to be in operation, then you still have whatever limit you had before for that particular emergency.
Yeah, I'm having trouble understanding the difference between discretionary and emergency. I'm not clear on.
Constitutes an emergency. I have a question about that.
Right. And those things that constitute emergency, a tree in the middle of the street.
So who determines what constitutes an emergency? Because I might say it's not an emergency because it's not on my street.
That's true. Ultimately, the mayor will make the initial decision. He would claim that he's doing it under emergency. Obviously, that's checkable by this board. And if you guys disagree, then he knows for the future that particular situation would never be deemed to be an emergency. Sometimes that's done by trial and error. He may think it's an emergency, you may not. But once you determine as a board that that wasn't an emergency, he's now placed on notice for the future.
So I would like to hear, please, is there a spending, was there an expenditure that has initiated this concern? What's going on? Was there money spent that you disagree with?
I would like to go to a vote.
I'm asking a question of the council, sir. I'll take it to a vote when I'm comfortable that.
When you're comfortable?
I have a question.
I'm asking you directly, Mr. Hunt. Is there an expenditure that has initiated this concern? What is causing the problem that needs to be? Usually, if you have you have to have a problem before you have a fix. So what's the problem?
The problem is that you are not paying the bills in a timely manner. And then
how is this going to resolve that?
I thought you asked me a question, but you're going to answer my question and before I can finish? I will just, I tell you what, I'm not going to answer your question. I would like to go to a vote. And if you want to continue on talking, go ahead. But
okay,
I will make a decision when you ask for the vote.
I will take this to a vote now, but you do this at your own demise because
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How much is the discretionary spending for day to day?
I'm not aware that we have anything described as discretionary expenditure.
Discretionary is the month-to-month bills, the any gas, any electric, any credit card, anything that comes in a monthly statement. You will be given that information to the committee, and you and the committee will go over and pay these bills on a rational
and you
time.
want us to pay the bills once a month? I will tell you no way.
I thought you was going to a vote. I thought you was going to a vote, or you're going to just argue with me and delay the time. Citizens wants to speak.
Yeah, and you bring up this garbage, and that's why we're at where we're at.
I don't know if this is a good idea.
I can't wait a month to pay bills. First, you say the bills aren't paid on time. Now you want me to have a council meeting before I pay any bills. I'm very confused as to what you're wanting to do. So,
I don't think
Mr. Hunt, please repeat the motion. I'm not sure people understand what they're voting.
Anthony Gray already explained it. Let's go ahead and go to a vote. Thank you very much.
Please repeat your motion. I don't understand what we're voting on.
Mr. Gray can repeat it.
As I understand it, to me, there's a difference, a clear distinction between things that you spend discretionarily and things you spend as a result of an emergency. It's my impression from following the dialogue, there are two separate spending powers and two separate limits. The discretionary fund is the one, or that limit is the one that they're talking about right now, not your emergency powers. Okay. Now, if I'm misstating what the current situation is, then correct me. But as I follow the conversation, it seems to me that there's a clear distinction between the two. One is being limited and one isn't.
I have a motion on the floor to limit the discretionary spending of the mayor to $500. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Now we'll go to citizens' comments. Oh, I need to get you a podium here.
I just can't hardly wait to see how this is gonna work. With the city council having to approve every expenditure, because half the time you don't show up for any meetings. You cancel and adjourn the meetings before you can vote on anything. We can't even pass a budget. Excuse me, I'm talking. You can't even pass a budget in a timely manner. You can't show up to vote for the $66,000.
Excuse me. Can somebody turn off their phone? There's a lot of background noise.
So I can't hardly wait to see what kind of meetings you're gonna show up for to approve payments when you can't show up for anything else. And about the bar and grill, just so you know, your customers are coming into my parking lot, they're urinating, they're leaving beer bottles. It smells like a urinal over there. And we've got to go and hose down my parking lot every single morning. The ice cream lady, it's disgusting. We're putting 4 cameras on our building and we're aiming them all to you. I'm done.
Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn.
I would like to
No,
speak, Mr.
no.
Hopkins.
Okay.
So I
You're out of
stand
order.
up and you would like to adjourn.
No,
Thank
he's out
you.
of order.
Council people, obviously, I know you feel like I have nothing of value to say as you're trying to adjourn a meeting the moment I stand up.
Somebody's got their phone on. Please mute yourself. Who's ever on Zoom, please mute yourself.
I was about to thank you for getting together to actually deal with our trash crisis. So thanks. But there's another crisis boiling on the back burner. Again, I would like to implore you to fire Chief Hall, who is not here because he's at Bell Ridge, which is great because he has not shown up for any council meetings for any of our contract cities. He does not know what he is supposed to do. And there's a lot of talk about canceling contracts with the city. We have never lost a police contract before, but I guess that's what you get when you allow a patrolman from New City to be the chief of police with no experience. I watched at the hearing with Mayor Beckman as the chief, who is supposed to be our chief law enforcement officer, became our charmer in chief as he caressed Miss Ratliff, who was upset during the meeting. I understand that he is charming, but the bloom will be off that rose very quickly. He does not show up for work. Nobody has seen him. I appreciate the fact that we have a police officer sitting here to answer questions, because every meeting he gets a call in the meeting and leaves. But I do know that one of the things that he stated at his last meeting that he gave his report at was that for the month of August, there were 192 calls for service. That's about 6 calls a day. I highly doubt that when he told us that 14 of those calls were for the bar. So I'm not sure if the data on the bar is correct either. During a sunshine law request, I uncovered the fact that for the first 15 days, so only first 15 days of the time the Chief Hall reported about, there were over 500 calls for service. He also stated that they wrote 14 reports. They wrote over 50 reports. So this does not seem accurate. You have a law enforcement officer standing up here lying to all of you. He doesn't have enough care or concern for this city to even do research to tell anybody what's going on in the city. We all know that, oh no, maybe you don't. Our accreditation is supposed to be up in October. I wanted to ask him where we were in that particular situation. Also, I realize, again, I'm going to bring up Sergeant Sanders. I had a whole thing written, but after listening to everything that you guys have said, wanting to have Mr. Gray paid, part of the lawsuit that Mayor Beckman has was regarding his right to appoint an attorney for the city. You guys took that choice from him. You appointed Anthony Gray. He was confused at how that was supposed to work because, of course, the person you appointed wants the job. I watched him in court in that hearing. He was told that he could not represent you all. During that hearing, he absolutely represented you all. And I hope that you are not asking that that bill be paid because Mayor Beckman is paying his own bill for that hearing, and he is not our city attorney. Mayor Beckman has the right to do that. We all know you will not confirm whoever he appoints. You represent us,
the people of Normandy and listening to everything that you have said, you are completely clueless. We have been asking you to bring back Sergeant Sanders, who has very much experience with our contract cities. You could call her back tomorrow. She could get everything back straightened out. She could save these contracts because HUD's not working anyway. Go ahead, keep paying him. He doesn't come in. He does not come in. I don't even know how many hours a week he works. I don't know how many vacations he's taken. Most people don't get them. But you need to really think about who you represent. Right now, listening to you want to pay Attorney Gray. No, you wanting to pay Attorney Gray, you are not listening to your constituents.
This is ridiculous. It's 3 minutes. It's time to move on.
I have a question. Is there any more residents' comments?
Yes, if there is.
Yes,
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I have, this is Edward James.
Can the council mute their phones, please? Thank you.
I wanted to stand up for the courier for her statement. This is exactly what I was saying about me needing help. Across the street, there's a barber shop, there's a church, I don't know what's going on. They have repasts, they have people outside handing out stuff. She doesn't even have the cameras yet, but yet since my bar is there, we're automatically being accused that people from my bar are doing it. I've never heard that till today. So if I would have heard it then, I could have fixed it, but no one is telling me anything until we're in front of people and I'm being beat down. So if this is my first time, this is my first rodeo, and I'm saying I need help, that's not helping me getting up, shouting at me, saying we're gonna throw cameras over there because people are pissing and doing that. I don't have knowledge of that. And if she have never came over and talked to me, or we haven't investigated the situation together, because how about it could not be my bar. I'm just being accused of anything that happens within that vicinity, and I don't feel that that is fair. And I feel like if something is going on, I should be addressed properly instead of coming to a council meeting for the first time and being beat down, pointed at, and going off on. I don't feel that's fair on my part. When I stood here and said, I need help, and I wanna be here, and I wanna help me to help you guys. I wanna be here, so I want it to be a bar where everybody feels welcome. But what I just got today, what you guys witnessed, that's what I get. I don't get any warnings or anything. I just get the last minute beat down of something I'm not even aware of. So how can I fix something that I know nothing about? And this is what I'll be telling you guys on the outside looking in. This is what I go through all the time. I never get a warning or, hey, let me talk to you. This is what's going on. I just get a police coming saying, this person called and said this. If I never get a warning or someone telling me what's going on, how do I know what to fix? I have a veteran that cleans off the lots. Now, I don't know that he's not cleaning off their lot. If someone would have talked to me and said, hey, this is coming from your bar, I would tell the veterans, hey, make sure you're checking the outer lots also, because I don't want anyone to complain because I can't control where people are parking. But I never get that. I just get what you guys just seen. It's your bar. We're putting cameras there for your bar. But if you don't have cameras there now, how do you know that the people that are pissing and throwing bottles are coming from my bar? When there's a church there with drug addicts, there's a barber shop, there's all kinds of things on that strip. Why do I get the money?
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is Edward James.
Go ahead, Ed.
Attorney Gray is correct, and Mayor Beckman, I'm sure you're getting your own advice, but an attorney does not need a contract as long as he is approved by the council. But the council must approve each and every one of his invoices. If there is a question about any of his invoices, they need to remove it from the check listing, send it back to him for clarification. Now, if that's not happening, then that's something that needs to be put into progress. But every bill or every dollar that is spent by the city should be approved by the council. Now, this emergency fund or discretionary fund, you can say whatever you want to say about it, but before every dime is paid or every penny is paid to a vendor, the council needs to see it, approve it, and pay it in a timely fashion. If they're not being paid in a timely fashion, then that contractor or vendor needs to come back to the city and find out what is wrong with my payment. If there's something wrong with my invoices in terms that is not being presented correctly, tell me what I need to do to correct it. But the problem is, it seems like we getting bills, they not getting paid. We getting bills, some of them not getting paid. But the thing about it is that every penny that is paid out of this city, regardless if it comes out of petty cash, needs to be approved by the council. And if it's not, then that's something that the council and the mayor has to sit down and decide what is wrong. You throw, what was that Michael Jackson thing? Leave your egos at the door. This is not about you all. This is about the city of Normandy. I mean, and I saw a tweet or something where people are moving out. They're not moving out for greener pastures. They moving out because these pastures are rotten. And why are they rotten is because we are not working together. And if we're not working together, why not? And if it's our egos, the heck with it, throw them out the door. If you don't want to serve in your position, get out of the positions. But the thing about it is that every penny that goes out needs to be approved, reviewed and approved by the council. And the mayor, I mean, this $500, I agree with Councilman Campbell. You know, you go out the door and you want to spend $5 on a loaf of bread, all of a sudden you come home with a $200 or $300 grocery bill. You need to loosen that up. And if you don't loosen it up, it ain't gonna be paid until you review it anyway. So we need to look at stuff like that and say, you know, what is reality? And a lot of stuff that we see as reality, because we're speaking at that moment, is not truly in the best interest for the city. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I would like to say something.
State your name and address, please.
Kimberly Moore on Skyview again. Just a few quick points. I did want to go ahead and, you know, we all are having issues with the council and things that aren't happening, but I did want to at least mention one good thing. I don't know if this is in particular to them, but I just wanted to let people know that we're making comments in the chat that this new trash service that we've been getting from Waste Management has been impeccable. The gentlemen that are on the trucks, they're swift, they're efficient. They don't leave more trash than when they came, and they're very polite and well-mannered and professional. And I think that's something that's missing throughout Normandy, through every segment of our government. So I think they've been doing a great job, and it is a small light that hopefully things can continue that way. To segue off of the trash with the leaves, now that Regina is gone, I just want to also make mention, we all know how to count. And Mayor Beckman has only been in office for a few short months. So before then, we had 18 months of Hunt, and then many years before that of Green. So if things weren't getting paid, that's not a new mayor issue, that's a previous mayor issue. We've had plenty of people that have come on and said they have not been paid because of Hunt or Green being in office. And with Regina being gone, I know that we don't have a public works director right now, but it is very important that we leave old and bad habits behind, and we need to be proactive instead of reactive. And I say that because in the chat, many people, even in neighborhoods, have already been talking and complaining that we don't have faith that Normandy is going to be able to pick up leaves. So Regina said over and over again, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken. When I say be proactive instead of reactive, can we start looking at that machine? Because the leaves are already gingerly falling right now. We've got about 3 or 4 weeks and they're going to start dumping. And not being able to park or having leaves on your curb in front of your home for over a month is not good for rodents. It's not good for the aesthetic, and it's not good for the homeowners, just the morale of Normandy residents. Next, I wanted to mention something about the bar and grill. I don't live too far from that area, and just to the young lady that owns that business, it's nice that you want to give meals to the police to appease the police, but it's bigger than the police. It's about this whole area. It's about the residents. We are a stone throw away from UMSL, which is a huge grab for the city and for this area. And I've owned homes in the Central West End where the bad areas are right around the school. So we don't want that to happen. So it looks like the problematic issues are on the weekends when the hip hop weekends are. So maybe instead of us trying to give the police free meals, or you giving the police free meals and spending that money, we need security. You can't depend on Normandy to secure the other parking lots. You need to have armed security there because it's making the whole neighborhood look bad. And we, as you can see from this meeting, it's already so much dysfunction. We need to come together. And if people want to do good, solid business here, then you can learn from your mistakes. And if there's a security issue and people are getting shot and people are shooting, there needs to be more security, and they can't be on the arms and shoulders of Normandy, and the residents can't suffer in the interim on second, third, fourth, and fifth chances. And the last thing I wanted to say is, you know, Hunt, I would hope there would be an ounce of compassion or humility or something in your body. What you just elected to do today is going to further hurt the city. As everyone has said, $500 for an emergency is nothing. You throwing this hissy fit to get your attorney friend paid is going to hurt us in so many other ways. So everybody listening, don't forget, the elections are in April. Hunt is up in April. Let's get him out of here. And you should be ashamed, sir. The whole council that voted to take it from 5,000 to 500. If we have a storm or issue, then that's on your head. If there's a death, if there's a hurt person or anything like that, that's all on your hands. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Anybody else?
Am I completely, because I have a bar and grill, but I have a fully functioning kitchen. So my kitchen can't be open either. The only problem is my liquor license. My kitchen isn't the problem.
I will make a phone call tomorrow morning and address that issue.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. So at this point, I would like to, if it's still the council's pleasure, to talk about our city administrator position, have a motion to go into a closed session to discuss a personnel matter.
Well, first of all, I have one other thing to say, Mayor. This is Rick Nelson.
Is it on? Keep it on point, please.
Yeah,
Mr.
this is
Nelson.
on point. You know, as Mr. James and some of the other residents said, they said some great things, but I just want to know the transparency, because I don't know personally as a board member and a citizen, the invoice that our last lawyer got. I needed you to let the citizens as well as the rest of the board to know what our that past lawyer, his last check was. I don't know. And I keep asking.
I'd be happy to pull that for you. And I didn't pay him off in full. I will tell you that. I think I paid half of what his invoice was, and there's still money owed. But we're getting him paid off.
What's the number? I need the number.
If I had to say, I think his last invoice was in the neighborhood of $39,000, and I believe I paid half of that.
And we still owe him.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you have that invoice. Would the board be able to see that invoice?
Yeah, I can bring those. That's no issue. Angela comes in once a week to do the bills, and it's not going to be a problem.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to go into closed session to discuss a personnel issue? Folks, we decided that at our last meeting to determine which one of these candidates for city administrator we were going to invite to a second meeting. Is anything changed?
Oh,
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Motion by Evans to go into closed session to discuss a personnel matter. Do I have a second?
A second. Campbell.
Roll. I need to do a roll call, please. Let me grab my sheet. Martin. Councilwoman Martin. Moss.
No.
Evans.
Yes.
Smith. Nelson.
Her battery went dead.
Nelson.
No.
Huh?
No.
Ratliff.
No.
And Campbell.
Yes.
Okay. Motion fails. There'll be no closed session tonight. I'm confused. We were going to make a decision as to which one of these gentlemen was coming back for a second interview. Can somebody enlighten me as to what has changed?
I thought that was the point too, which was what we talked about with Councilman Hunt calling and getting more references for today,
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
making a decision.
I second it.
Also.
I have a question before we adjourn the meeting. And I wanted to ask this question earlier, but people
Go
kept
ahead, go
talking
ahead.
over me.
Go ahead, Tony.
As,
Go ahead,
as
Tony.
far as the sanitation,
Yes, sir.
the cleanup down at Public Works,
Yes.
as far as the illegal dumping, how long has this been going on?
Since about 30 days. It's been going on probably for a year and a half. I was down there about 3 weeks after I was inaugurated. And that's when I discovered it and addressed it at that time. And I have addressed it repeatedly, but it didn't get taken care of.
So you would,
Can anybody on the council, as far as speak on the illegal dumping down at Public Works? Anyone?
because that sounds like 2018, 2019.
Hello?
I
Is
guess
anybody
not.
there?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know the last time I went down to Public Works, someone threatened to call the police on me, so I couldn't go down there. So can anybody on the council address that, please? Mr. Hunt, can you address that, please?
Yeah, didn't Hunt hire Regina? Didn't Hunt hire Regina?
There was
Can
a
you address that,
motion.
Mr. Hunt? How long
There's a
has this
motion
illegal
to-
dumping been going on?
The motion.
It was a motion on
adjourn
the
the
floor
meeting.
to adjourn the meeting.
We've got a motion to adjourn.
Don't chicken out. Can you address that, Mr.
Mr.
Hunt?
Gray,
How long has
Mr.
this
Gray.
illegal dumping been going on?
Mr.
Or
Gray,
was you
can you
aware
address
of it?
him? Mr. Gray,
Was you
Mr.
aware of the
Tony
illegal
Evans.
dumping, Mr. Hunt?
Mr. Tony Evans, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but.
Mr.
I'm
Gray.
asking you a question, Mr. Hunt. Was you aware of the legal dumping down at Public Works?
Mr. Gray,
Can you answer that question?
it's a motion on the floor.
There
Mr. Gray,
is a motion on the floor. to
Councilman
adjourn.
Redliff, can you answer that question? How long
I don't
have
have
you
to.
known about
I
the
don't have
illegal
to.
dumping down at Public Works?
I don't have
Can you
to.
answer that question?
We're
You
not
would
answering
know.
the question.
You
Can
would
we
know.
move forward to adjourn the meeting?
No, I didn't know. I wouldn't know because you guys threatened to call
I
the police
second the
on me.
motion.
Nobody,
You're
I
out of
didn't.
order.
All right,
You're
let's.
out of
Yes,
order,
you did.
and the
Yes, you
motion
did.
is on.
No, I did not.
Let's have order.
Yes,
Motion
you
to
did.
adjourn.
No, I
There's a
did
motion
not,
to adjourn
Tony.
by
So
Hunt.
stop
You
it.
didn't object to it.
Whatever you say, Tony, you need to stop. You really do.
You didn't object to it, Irma
Whatever,
Ratliff.
Tony Evans, you
Did
need
you
to
object
stop.
to it?
Irma,
Mr.
Did you
Gray.
object to it?
Mr. Gray.
Let's go ahead.
Yes,
Don't
ma'am.
play it. Don't play
Mr.
into
Gray.
his disrespectfulness.
I'm
Do
here.
not,
I'm here. I
do
can hear
not
you.
listen to Tony Evans. He's being totally disrespectful and he's acting like a clown.
I don't
There's a
think I would.
motion on the
No,
floor.
you're a clown. You're a clown
Sure.
because I asked you a
Come on,
question.
guys.
How
Come
long
on.
have
Come
you
on,
known
There's a-
about the illegal dumping?
Mr. Gray.
Mr. Hunt, you're a clown.
Come
You're
on,
a
come on.
clown.
y'all.
Before you
Come
call
on.
somebody a
Come on.
clown, you're a clown.
Get off the meeting, Mr. Hunt. We have ended this meeting, so everybody could go ahead and leave. If they want to continue to scream and yell, go ahead.
You're screaming and yelling. Hunt is the clown. Have you heard him during the meeting?
I know, crybaby clown.
Yeah, you're a clown, Mr. Hunt. You're a clown.
I'm glad that this is
With
being
horrible
recorded.
ghetto English, Hunt. He's the clown. Have you
You're a
heard him in
clown,
our
Mr.
meetings?
Come on, guys. I
All
can't
right,
believe this.
all right. There's a motion to adjourn.
I don't
All
believe
in
Where's
it.
the
favor, in a
money,
second.
Mr. Hunt? What
All
did
in
you do with the
favor?
money, Mr. Hunt? Where's all our money, Mr. Hunt?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
So you haven't heard from the
Um,
judge yet on your cases?
No.
Man,
You still there, Tony?
It's taking a long time.
I know, it's very frustrating.